So you got to give it up to Jake Paul. He went 6 rounds with one of the best boxers in the entire world. And while he didn't win, I think you got to say that the heart and that the determination he showed in this fight is absolutely worthy of praise. Is what some fucking horseshit Netflix documentary is going to say in about 8 months. So I watched the Jake Paul versus Anthony Joshua fight this morning, and man, I have thoughts not only about the fight but about a lot of the, we'll call it, commentary surrounding the fights. It's incredible to me that Paul still lost, and you are still seeing all these allegations of like the fight being scripted and just like all this kind of shit. And I really feel like so much of it just comes from people who have never fought and will never fight. And look, I will say that I have a certain amount of training in boxing, in taekwondo, in Brazilian jiu-jitsu, and I am a dog shit fighter by professional standards. I am a hobbyist martial artist at best, but god damn it, I am proud of it. And I think I can give a little insight here because really it's just kind of nuts what people are saying. So if you want to know what the scam was with this fight, all you had to do was look at the size of the ring. It was fucking gigantic, and it was gigantic for a really simple reason. Paul's plan was never to win here. His plan was to run and duck and do everything he could to not actually fight for 8 rounds, then last for 8 rounds with Anthony Joshua and say, I went the distance with one of the best in the world. That is unquestionably, in my mind, the plan here, or at least it was. Because Paul got absolutely starched with one of the most rancid straights I have ever seen. So first of all, let's talk about how Paul lasted 6 rounds with one of the best boxers in the entire world. And what I would say to that is, did he? Because what I watched was not a 6-round boxing match. It was 4 rounds of someone running for their fucking life. 1 round of someone absolutely getting taken down, I think twice. I think Paul got knocked down twice in that 5th round. And then just a mauling in that 6th round. And I think people who are saying that like, oh, Anthony Joshua went easy on him in the first couple of rounds. Anthony Joshua must have been paid off. It was rigged. I really, really, really don't think that's what was happening. I think what happened is that when you fight someone, it's actually very difficult to do anything with an opponent that is defending 100%. I had a roll just this week, and it was a guy I'd never rolled with before. He'd been doing jiu-jitsu for about 3 years, and he was a huge big guy. I would say like easily good 40 or 50 pounds on me. And he was really big and he was really strong. And so like a lot of big, strong lads, he came in and he tried to double leg me. I scooped him into a front face lock and then I underhooked his arm and then I got him in a cow catch. You can look that up. I won't explain what it is. But it ended up with me having him in side control. From there, he scrunched up his arm. So he's on the ground now and I'm like on top of him. And he's like this. And he's just doing everything he can to not let me grab a wrist or isolate an arm or anything like that. And because he's so big and strong, there's not a lot I can do. Now, I'm never in any danger of losing the position, but in terms of sinking in a nice submission on him, it was really, really difficult. And I must have been there for like 3 or 4 minutes, trying to bait him different ways before I was actually able to catch him. That is exactly what we saw with this fight. You had Jake running away, you had him covering up and just being as defensive as he could, while just throwing out the very kind of the very mildest kind of offense. But never really committing to it. Even the one decent right he landed, Joshua shook off in like a second. But then we get to the most cowardly shit I have ever seen in a boxing match. Because what Paul was doing is that he was incorporating grappling. And so there's 2 ways he did this. And the first is like kind of legit. It's whenever Anthony would get close, Paul would like just grab him in a bear hug and just hold on for dear life. Because while he's like that, Anthony Joshua cannot knock Paul out. You have to have someone at the right range to knock someone out. 1-inch punches do not exist, and it's very difficult to hook someone when they're literally like hugging your chest and have their ear pressed against you. Like you cannot build up the torque or power to do that. So whenever this looked in any danger of turning into an actual fight, Paul would clinch, and I could not fucking believe what I was seeing here, he would shoot for a takedown. He would literally go down on his knees and try and ankle pick Anthony Joshua in a boxing match. And it was like pathetic. It was genuinely so cowardly. So let's explore why he did this. We know that he wanted to go the distance, okay? But how come you never see an actual boxer do that? And the reason for that is an actual boxer would never fight like this, because an actual boxer wants to win. They want to show that like they are the better boxer, that they have trained, that they have put more time in, that they have committed themselves to the art of boxing and have developed the skills necessary to win. Paul is not interested in that because he's not a real fighter. He's a clown. You might as well put up a fucking circus tent around the ring for the actual intention here, because all Paul wanted to do is he wanted the fight to go the distance, and then he wanted to claim that he went the distance with one of the best in the world. And it kind of worked for about half the fight until the 5th round, when now Paul was tired and couldn't keep running away. He couldn't keep up the pace of just like taking down Anthony Joshua and like running around the ring. And when he got tired, the inevitable happened. He got caught. He got utterly outclassed, outpowered, outsped, outskilled. This was like watching a rabbit fight a tiger. And a lot of people expected that, but I think people didn't expect it to go into the 6th round. I'm not surprised it took this long, because having studied Paul's fights, as you can see in my video, how Jake Paul keeps winning fights, I knew there was going to be some bullshit. And there was. As for Anthony Joshua, he was very like respectful of Paul after the fight. And the reason for that is simple. He made such unfathomable amount of monies from this fight. I haven't looked up how much he made. I don't need to. It was some ridiculous number that most of us will never even be able to comprehend. And I'm sure he would like the idea that they could do this again someday and he could make that same amount of money. So like he gave his dues to Paul. Paul isn't paying me anything. This was some cowardly fucking bullshit. And I think worse, it's like I see people giving him props online, and it's like, do you realize what you are giving props to? This is a guy who has the money to hire the best training, the best coaches, the best nutritionists, the best physios, all the like most cutting edge imaginable technology in the world, going up against people who never had those privileges, going up against people who like made themselves boxers, and Paul is pretending to be them. He's pretending that they're on even footing, when the truth is that even with all Paul's advantages, he is an utterly mediocre boxer, like nowhere near world class, and never will be. All this fight is the same shit Paul's fights always were, going in with some weird exploitive game plan. And it doesn't matter if it's challenging MMA fighters to boxing matches. I'm not going to explain again why that is so dumb. Go watch my video. Or beating fighters with records more padded than the walls of the lunatics who are giving Paul props for this one. Despite all his advantages, he looked like a scared child in there. And listen, look, like, I am not a great fighter, not even close. But like, a lot of the people I train with, they show up before work. They come in after work. Some of them train like, twice a week, 3 times a week, and that's all they can manage because, they have jobs, they have lives and responsibilities. Those people are infinitely more fighters than Jake Paul will ever be. I will say it again. I am not a good fighter by any stretch. I would so much rather have my skill set earned honestly with a genuine attempt to grow than whatever the fuck Jake Paul is doing.